Hi, I'm the Rap Critic, here once again to give you the best rap songs of the last year. Let's get started.
The larger issues that we've been talking about now for the last week.
The first one on this list comes courtesy of the mighty Wu-Tang itself, from their newest album, A Better Tomorrow. Not to be confused with the song of the exact same title from their '97 album, Wu-Tang Forever, which is quite fitting because it uses its sampling choice just about as liberally as hip-hop producers did back in 1997.
The world won't get no better if we just let it be.
But Method Man comes in headfirst with no doubt the best verse of all four, flipping through different socially conscious topics almost effortlessly.
My people's tired waiting for reparations to pay us, screaming Jesus to save us. I get the Bentley if I save her, but that's just another trick to enslave us. Push the minimum wages, put our fathers up in them cages, then watch how our mothers struggle to raise us.
Followed by a surprisingly on-point verse from Master Killer, and honestly this song couldn't have come at a better time, along with the type of music video supporting protesters of Michael Brown's and Eric Garner's death at the hands of police officers. However, as good as the first couple of verses and the general messages of the song are,
I'm on the back of the bus with two fine divas. We're in the jungle of life, but never jungle fever.
Cap, is this really the time to talk about your sexual preferences? And also, Cappadonna's flow seems to, after all these years, have that same flow where he sounds like he keeps slipping off of the rhythm of the song.
My people that's out there persevering through the storm. Blackfish, Staten Island, stand up, stand strong.
But then Raekwon the Chef comes in, delivering a strangely sleepily delivered but definitely engaging verse.
Wake up and realize the times that we living in, the world is getting more iller than ever. Thought we was chilling, striving change for the better, but it was a dream like Martin Luther.
Then he brings up the most sparking lines of them all.
And that's the Willie Lynch tactics that separated the masses, taught us all to think backwards.
Now, there's a whole debate on the credibility of the Willie Lynch letters, which was allegedly a guideline of tactics on how to keep slaves fighting with each other to the point where they could never unify enough to rebel against the plantations they were forced to work on. But even if you don't believe in any of that, just in life generally, there is a very real manifestation of these type of tactics, orchestrated or no, concerning racial and religious problems, when the true problems we face ultimately boil down to issues of class, particularly in how people, regardless of their sex or racial or religious standing, can be treated unfairly by a system that purely works for those who pay the big checks to keep certain imbalances in place. But yeah, check this joint out. It's a really cool song, and I think we need it in a time like this. Hey, remember that Kendrick Lamar verse from 2013?
Usually homeboys with the same niggas I'm rhyming with, but this is hip-hop and them niggas should know what time it is. And that goes for Jamaica, Big Crit, Wale. I got love for you all, but I'm trying to murder you niggas.
And how virtually nobody mentioned in that verse stepped up to the plate, and anyone who did was either not mentioned in the first place or had a relatively weak couple of bars in return. Well, Big Crit responded, and he's really pissed that we underestimated him.
Now they wanna hear a country nigga rap. 5 albums in, I swear a country nigga snap. Thought they wanted trap, thought they wanted bass, thought they wanted Miley, thought they wanted Drake. Fuck them niggas.
Fresh out the gate, Crit hits you with a dope chorus, ridiculing everyone who told him to make music more like everyone else, littered with the typical rap cliches, but all of a sudden wants to hear lyrics now that Kendrick started calling people out of their names.
All this attention, I don't even know what I might do with it. That control beat is like an ugly bitch that everybody done fuck raw. Maybe you hit it.
And I love how he addressed the verse while at the same time making clear that he thinks it's stupid that people overreacted to something that was essentially nothing more than an invitation to friendly lyrical competition and not the all-out diss song that everyone was trying to make it into.
Oh man, I'm more concerned with niggas been texting my cell, calling my phone, asking me about this Kendrick shit. They ain't even really diss me on.
However, he does go off on someone that he feels some type of way about concerning rappers who jack the styles of southern artists.
So I'ma take from all these southern artists that mainstream never heard of, recycle all of they lingo and make sure I screw my words up. Bravo for your swagger jack, and I'm overwhelmed by your dedication. You acting foolish, people in the thinking that your music was innovative.
And then he goes in on music awards and how they have no credibility in regards to judging good hip-hop.
Nigga, please, this war ain't got shit to do with us. God can physically calm down and say he's the greatest, my favorite. Y'all should listen, it had potential. That I live the heat wave, I'ma send through this motherfucking reveal for a whole nother older culture. And that wouldn't be enough.
And he makes it quite clear that he does not give a damn about your parameters for his music.
So I keep flexing, breaking for the people that respect and check and fucking control. Are you not entertained?
So yeah, definitely check this one out. And give his album Catalactica a listen too. It's pretty nice. Now, I was not expecting to put a 50 Cent song on this list, especially since his latest album, Animal Ambition to Be, wasn't that great of an offering, but I have to say, even though I'm not the biggest fan of the hyper thug persona that 50 Cent has, I can always appreciate it if he illustrates an actual sense of danger to it, something that can really strike fear into someone as an anthem of evil. And this more minimalist production does that, added to a menacingly cool delivery by 50.
Nigga, you pussy, you scared. I can hear your heartbeat. Why the fuck would you come around here? I can hear your heartbeat. Come out your mouth, slick. I'll get you hit. My niggas hungry. They hit a lick. You think my rap shit a gimmick? I ain't seen parole in a minute.
It's the type of song that gets you in your gut when you hear it the first time. Now, I'd appreciate it more if it was just him, but the guest artist Jadakiss definitely does do a good job of adding to the terror.
Trying to backpedal and stumble on the curb. You stand at the ground, you mumbling your words. Literally, I can see your heart pumping through your shirt.
And while Kid doesn't really add to the horror as much as Jadakiss does, skipping a more subtle delivery and opting for the more in-your-face gangster attitude, he still has his lines that connect.
Bang, I'm the one that came in your house for the chickens. Left a nigga brains hanging out like we chillin'.
And sure, it's more mindless thug music, but I feel like even that can be done right. And here, 50 recaptures that fear of lurking through the darker parts of Jamaica Queens once more.
I can hear your heartbeat.
So here, Childish Gambino is essentially a gloating little brat who boasts about how much better his life is than yours. And that's not me insulting him, that's the character he plays.
Watching haters wonder why Gambino got the game. Half-tied thicky, all she wanna do is bang.
And although it's not really that different from his usual brag songs in that they still contain his materialistic yet complexly thought out punchlines, it's definitely a highlight in how outrageous he gets with them.
Still spitting that cash flow, DJ Khaled. I got penthouse on both coasts, PH balance. My architect, no Japanese. Yo girl, she Japanese. No hands like Socrates, young fuck boys like Socrates.
And then of course there's my favorite part of the whole thing.
Ain't nobody sicker in my Fisker room, ain't nobody.
Fiskers don't make noise when they start up, just so you know.
Top of the holy totem.
It's a fun song all around, accompanied by an assuredly more interesting video than 3005. As in, I definitely showed this to a friend to get them into Childish Gambino.
I'm winning, so they had to dump the Gatorade. And I don't give a fuck about my family name.
The hell's your problem, kid? Okay, so the lyrics in this song are really cool, and they're about a guy who went from being a normal everyday street hustler to someone who wants to inspire the people to be greater.
I'm a freedom fighter, Dalai Lama from a weed supplier. I'm Muhammad to the rap game, that's my last name. My first should be Elijah. And to compete with me, you gon' need a priest to preach your sweetest needs to give a hell of an Easter speech.
And yeah, it gets kind of corny in the second verse with the flows and punchlines.
It was something about Mary, nigga. I was Ben Stella.
But I'm not gonna lie, half the reason this song is on this list is because of that chorus.
Man, I swear I'm gonna feel like Nelson. I want my troops to feel like Nelson. All these niggas wanna kill.
To anyone who thought that Bastille song was thumping, show them this and call it a day. Also, it's just nice to have a song where the chorus is about comparing oneself to a man who sought to end the division of black and white people in the motherland. Which is better than, I don't know, say comparing yourself to a frantic, temperamental, fictional drug dealer whose life was lived by being a selfish, coke-fueled asshole. Just saying.
Oh, yes, my Lord.
Kingdom by Common tells the all-too well-known story of a man caught between wanting to live a life in the righteous path or the life of fast cash and immediate benefits. However, it starts backwards from Common's perspective as a friend who went to his friend's funeral.
Second row of the church with my hood on. My homie used to rap, he was about to get put on. At his funeral, listening to this church song, his family yelling and screaming, I heard for him.
However, during the second verse, he switches over to the man in the casket, contemplating the worth of earthly possessions against a prior to unexamined quest for salvation.
I was hurting, couldn't get no work. You created me from dust, that's why I did dirt. My whole life I had to worry about eating. I ain't had time to think about what I believe in.
And while I don't dig Vince Staples' verses as much as Common's, I appreciate its place in the song, as after Common's exploration of this lifestyle is seen through older, more experienced eyes, we shift to a journey directly through the eyes of someone younger, someone who could still be going through it.
Satan serenading ever since I was a child to tell him talk is cheap. Niggas living for the dollars, make the best from the least, on the quest for the keys to the kingdom.
It serves its purpose as a song that illustrates the internal struggles of those who are torn between good and evil in a ghetto hood life context, and for that it deserves its spot on this list. Now, for all the great abilities of storytelling that the artists on this list display, at the end of the day, I'm a man of lyrics. And the next guy on this list has been in the game so long with lyrical consistency, it'd be a shame to not put— Wait, Rugged Man's only put out 2 albums? And this single's from the second album? This dude's been out since 1993. He did a song with Biggie Smalls before he was popular. How the hell does that happen? Anyway, he has a strange flow that I can only describe as if the big, rough and tumble, nameless thug from a typical action movie started rapping. So admittedly, it is a bit of an acquired taste, but when you get into the thick of his intricate lines, it's a wonder to sit back and take in.
This Rugged Man flow is uglier than blind dates. My mental is heavy like heavy D and sharp rock combined weights. I'll beat it, believe it, leaving you leaking, losing blood like an anemic. I'm rather conceited, rappers are comedic, heated, leaving you paraplegic. I'm undeniable, diabolical, biological warfare.
The one thing that makes it kinda odd though is that after all this complex, crazy lyricism, it culminates to this as the chorus.
I'm feeling so groovy now. Rugged Man's flow will fuck your whole head. I'm feeling so groovy now.
It feels like they were trying to do something like anything to make this song more appealing to a more mainstream audience.
Go shopping, go shopping. I think you're shopping. Let's all go shopping.
What the hell?
The whole underworld worries me less than a single man. Diabolic.
I'm pretty sure Diabolic's Fightin' Words for me was one of the best albums of 2014 if you're a person who's into insane lyrics about demolishing opponents. And Diabolic here wastes no lyrics. Add that to the beat production by DJ Premier and oh my lord, you've got some great material. The way Premier brings the twisted sounds of the orchestra to play around Diabolic's vocals is just heinous.
Brace yourself for impact. I'm raising hell with syntax, like Satan cast an ancient spell on this track. Too many rappers here get on my nerves to stay calm. Put on the radio and heard the same songs all day long. It's mind numbing like doctors squeezing forceps to load my brain with Novocaine in my cerebral cortex.
When a track is just this much raw perfection, there's not much to say that will really be any more impactful than just experiencing it for yourself. So check it out and do the same for the rest of the album as well. If you love dope rhymes and fantastic beats, you won't be disappointed in the least. Now I know what you're thinking. Gee, Rap Critic hasn't mentioned Lupe Fiasco yet, or Hobson, or Tech Nine, or Eminem, so he's probably gonna blindly pick one of them for his #1 song, right? And you know, I'm just the type of person who would bring that up just to make you think I was not going to do that, only to end up subverting your expectations once more by indeed putting either one of them up here. But instead of ending it with the typically expected rappers like Lupe, Tech Nine, Eminem, Kendrick Lamar— oh wait. Yeah, Kendrick is definitely #1 for this one, and let me explain why. Because I haven't heard a song in a while that has sounded this realistic about human failures, and yet so inspirational about your ability to overcome them at the same time. This is one of those songs that gets inspirational music down, but not in a lame way. Although his voice is kind of weird at the beginning.
I've been through a whole lot. Trial, tribulation, but I know God.
And the thing is, I love this song for what a beautiful sentiment the chorus has. After all the problems he has externally and internally, he knows the world is watching him, seeing his embarrassing moments and his failings. And he says this.
In front of a dirty double mirror, they felt me, and I love myself. The world is a ghetto, big guns and dick ride. I love myself, but they can do what they want whenever they want. I don't mind. I love myself. He said I gotta get up, like this world is suicide. I love myself. One day at a time, sun gon' shine.
It's a great chorus for anyone to sing aloud, and the thing is, it's not the vain "I love myself" messages that we get from a lot of songs where the love comes from material accomplishments. It's a love that says, I value my own existence, I see who I am, and I still want to be me, regardless of what anyone, including myself, tells me about my self-worth.
Everybody looking at you crazy. What you gonna do? Lift up your head and keep moving, or let the paranoia haunt you.
And I really like the idea that kids around the country could be singing this as a popular song, and that its claims of loving yourself are not another song about glorifying guns and wealth and exploiting women's sexualities, and not singing a song that says I love myself because of some self-centered narcissistic worldview that sees everyone else as not as important as you, but as a chorus that reinforces your true value as a human being, and stresses how your outlook and your contributions in life don't mean anything if at the end of the day you don't live it for you. In fact, my favorite part is about him wrestling with his own suicide, but believing that he will not stop doing so until he honestly believes in his worth as a human.
I went to war last night with a automatic weapon, don't nobody call a medic, I'ma do it till I get it right.
And then specifically he tells people not to call for help, that outside forces can't ultimately change him or his outlook unless he at his core wants to change his negative assessment on life. And at the end, he makes the right decision and finds his fulfillment in living his life to be a lesson for the future.
Give my story to the children and a lesson they can read, and the glory to the feeling of the early unseen, seen enough, make a motherfucker scream.
It's a perfect piece of music for the year and for all time, and I can't wait to hear the album that accompanies it. Well, that's my list. And if you agree or disagree or you have your own list, please post it in the comments section, get a discussion going. Until next time, I'm the Rap Critic, and
I lost my head, I must explain what the